Let's go to some pretty smart people on this. Brandywine Global Portfolio Manager Jack McIntyre, former Dallas Fed advisor Danielle DiMartino Booth, and former Chief of Staff to Paul Ryan, Dave Hopp. Welcome to all of you. You know, Jack, you had said, if you don't mind, I go to you first, that trade wars, by almost instinct, make you go defensive. So at the very least, you think of a defensive posture going into this. Even if it doesn't look like it will pan out, right? Or explain that.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily where we are today in terms of the trade dispute. It's the uncertainty going forward. And obviously markets, investors hate uncertainty. So that's where you need to have some defensive things because, hey, nobody knows exactly how this is going to play out. So in your asset allocation, have things that are going to hold up. Hey, you know, if the global economy slows down, if we do turn into a full-blown trade war. So that's just simply what the point I'm trying to make.
You know, Danielle, if you don't mind going back to that Fed hat of yours and wondering whether the flip side of this seems like perverse logic to me, means this could slow the economy down. The Federal Reserve, despite the higher prices that come with tariffs, would have to cool it on the number of, interest rate hikes precisely because this could put a damper on the economy. What do you think of that?
You know, it's interesting. After Jay Powell finished up with his congressional testimony, the Beige Book came out from the Fed yesterday afternoon, and every single one of the 12 districts, tariffs were mentioned as being a big concern going forward, and that really did echo what Chairman Powell said, which was that he was concerned that he had heard from, quote, many companies that the tariff talk has caused them to ratchet back their spending plans. We saw that in this morning's Philadelphia Fed report. We saw it in yesterday's the New York Fed report, that the outlook for spending has been coming down appreciably, and this could indeed be the thing that puts the brakes on the Fed continuing with its rate hike campaign.
You know, Dave, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of the reticence on Capitol Hill for all of this. It's one thing to get tough with the Chinese, and then another to get tough with Europe, and then another to get tough with Canada and Mexico. And I know, having worked with Paul Ryan, he was among the early ones saying, just be careful with this. But they're not taking the president on to take away that ability to negotiate this stuff. But they are getting worried. What do you make of that?
There is concern, Neil. With tariffs, it starts like a little snowball at the top of a mountain, and you start rolling that snowball down the mountain. It may stop and become a snowman, or in more cases, unfortunately, it becomes an avalanche. And nobody knows at the beginning. But if you look what has happened since the beginning of this year, it is everybody upping the ante on everybody else. And that's concerned the Congress. If you look at the vote that was taken in the Senate earlier this week, 88-11. Now, it didn't mean anything in terms of really controlling it, but it tells you where senators are, and House members are in much the same position. They are very concerned.
That 88-11 was on a non-binary way to say, hey,
That's right.
Mr. President, you got to check with us. But it's like
That's right.
Mr. Tough Guy. I mean, they don't have any plan to force that on the president because they don't want to challenge it.
Well, but right now they don't. But if you look, this is a Section 232 issue that they were bringing out. That's what the hearing is in Commerce today, is a Section 232 issue. Is this really national security? And do the autos have to have a tariff put on them because of national security? There's a great skepticism in Congress, broadly and bipartisanly, that this is a Section 232 violation in any way, shape, or form.
But there's no national security involved in this.
That's
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jack, you're following this closer than I, but this is not something that will imperil our future. What will imperil it is, I guess, if all this goes into effect. But I don't see that. But I might be missing something. What about you?
No, we really shouldn't be surprised. I mean, there's one thing that at his core Trump has followed for decades. That's his view that trade deficits are bad. He's talked about trying to make trade more fair, protectionist leanings, all that sort of stuff. So that's why, in part, I'm not sure the equity market, it's actually holding out near highs. The Russell 2000 is
because they don't think it's going to happen.
So
I think they think that this will never happen.
That cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually in the camp. I think Trump will pull back. I mean, if he wants Republicans to do well in the midterms, boy, you don't want a trade war going into that.
All right. Well, there is an assumption of some logic there. But, Danielle, I'm wondering, how these things escalate, because if the Chinese don't budge, and we expect them to, and you have Steve Bannon, I think, who speaks a lot for the president's conscience, even though they don't necessarily talk to each other anymore, I think his view is that China will blink. He said as much. China might blink, but what if it doesn't blink within the next few months? What if it goes on for quite a while without blinking?
Well, you know, there's a lot of disruption going on in maybe not in our stock market, but in the Chinese stock market. And with the Chinese currency, the yuan, we're seeing a lot of bloodshed. So
well, that's why they use the
to
blinking analogy. They think that's why they're going to be forced to come to the table.
Right. And that could be the case, but there's no telling with Xi Jinping whether he's going to blink or not. He's a very strong politician in the same spirit that Donald Trump is, and you just don't know what they might have up their sleeve. If this currency devaluation continues, when it happened back in 2015, it eventually bled into our stock market.
You're right.
And maybe they're gambling with time right now, saying that at some point our stock market is actually going to start reacting to this. For now, as Dave said earlier, stocks are close to their peak highs, and so far the assumption is that this is just a big game of chicken. But I don't know. Again, China's leader is a very strong individual, and I don't think he likes to be tested.
No one does. But let me ask you, Dave, is there a sense that this could be unwinding the advantages that Republicans felt they had going into the midterms? The wind was at their back, economy picking up, still picking up, jobs looking good, retail sales looking good, the market with some bumps along the way looking good. Then the Putin, disaster. I know the president views it otherwise. Now this trade back and forth. I don't know. What do you think?
There is growing concern on Capitol Hill, both in the House and the Senate, among members, that a month ago, 6 weeks ago, things seemed to be moving positively and very positively for Republican members and Republican senators and in some of these races. And there is a real concern about this. But there is one little break in the clouds that I hope will broaden out, and it's the Kudlow-Grenell view that what we ought to do is remove all tariffs on European automobiles in the United States and the United States into Europe. And the German car manufacturers apparently like this idea. I'm hoping it will catch on. It is an opening that President Trump would take if somebody will grab it in Europe, and the United States will grab it as well. I think it's an opportunity.
That would be a big deal, but you have to clear that with the European Union. You have to clear that. I mean, there are a lot of phases to go through.
There are, but also this is a very long process we're going through on tariffs on automobiles. It will take months to get there. And once again, the question they're looking at is this a national security requirement? And there's an awful lot of people, as we've said here, who don't believe it is a national security requirement. It does not, in fact, impinge on U.S. national security in any way, shape, or form.